Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So in today's Pick a Card reading, we are going to be reading a channeled letter from your future self. Before we get into it, I just wanted to let you guys know that today's video is another fundraiser. You may have seen in a couple of my previous videos that we are currently fundraising for a family in Gaza. For the past couple months, I have been in contact with Fares, who is a 17-year-old boy living in Gaza with his family, and they are trying to raise enough funds, first of all, so that they can get by in their daily lives, but eventually with the hopes that they could evacuate to safety. I was matched with Fares through a mutual aid initiative called Project Love Brocade, which I recommend you check out if you'd like to know more details about the work that they do. Today's video is so kindly sponsored by Tarot Stack, whom I absolutely love. I have been a long-time collaborator with them. They are an online shop that features a huge selection of indie tarot and oracle decks, and they work directly with indie deck creators to help them get their decks published and marketed. I'm working on something with them myself, and they so kindly reached out to me expressing that they would like to help with our fundraising efforts. So for the sponsorship fee that I would usually receive from them, they are going to donate it to Fares and his family instead. I'm going to leave the link to the GoFundMe campaign down below. Of course, the best way that you can help Fares and his family is to donate directly. But if you were considering purchasing any of the decks on Tarot Stack's website, if you purchase through my affiliate link, all of my affiliate commissions will go to them. And this is for the entire month of September. So even if you already happen to purchase a deck earlier this month, my commission is going to go to them, and any decks you purchase for the rest of the month is going to go to them. This goes for any decks on their site. I'm going to have the link down below, and anything you purchase through that link is going to help towards the fundraiser. Of course, please don't feel like you need to make a purchase just to help the cause. The best way would be to donate directly. But if you were considering purchasing a deck anyway, this is a great way to help, and I'm so grateful. In addition, I would like to mention that the Creative's Compass Oracle deck, which we are going to be using in today's reading, the creator of that deck would also like to contribute to fundraising for Palestine. So all of the royalties from that creator's deck are going to be donated to the Palestine Children's Relief Fund, or the PCRF. I have been speaking with Fares every single day, and the situation is quite scary, honestly, and it continues to get worse. So any way that you can help, even if it is just sharing the campaign link, is really appreciated. And if you have supported already, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and just know that you are literally doing life-saving work. And thank you guys so much for allowing me to use my platform to do things like this. It really means a lot. So thank you guys so much for listening to that. And now let's get on to the reading. Hi guys, it's Kino. Welcome to another video. So in today's reading, we are going to be reading a channeled message from your future self. And more specifically, this is a version of you from the future who has gone through some sort of transformation or rebirth. So they are here to tell you who is the person you have become, how has your life changed, and any other hints they would like you to know about when this transformation might be happening, or signs that you will see when it's about to happen, or any advice for how you could prepare or align with this version of you. I think we're gonna leave it pretty open to future you about what messages they would like to bring you during this reading, but definitely we are going to see the nature of the transformation and the rebirth that you have been through. I have the channeled letters right here. I wrote them yesterday. I'm super excited to get into this one. So there are 3 options to choose from today, and there's a different crystal for each group. I'm going to show you each of these up close one by one, and please pick whichever one you feel drawn to the most. For my group number 1s, this is called Nakauriite. Nakauriite. For my group number 2s, we have some brown calcite. And for my group number 3s, we have some tangerine quartz. Okay, so as always, take all the time you need to pick. You can pause the video if you need to. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with number 1. Hi number 1s, so if you guys chose the Nakauriite, this is going to be your reading. I just wanted to mention that I'm having a very weird, like, ear popping kind of sensation going on right now. So that could be a sign or a confirmation for some of you. But anyway, let's get into your reading. So we're gonna start off by reading the channeled letter from future you. And then we're also going to take a look at this oracle card to see what messages future you wants to open with. And then we're gonna get into the tarot decks to look at the specifics of your transformation journey and the person you've become. So without further ado, let's read your letter. Dear past me, I'm writing to you at this point in your life because we need to reevaluate. You're letting something you really love pass you by. You're doing just enough to quiet the part of you that says you're not doing enough. Why don't you commit fully? What are you afraid of? I would tell you where we ended up at this point in the future, but I think the point is that you commit even when you can't fully see the road ahead. At least that's my assessment from where I am now. Even if I had failed, I would still wish you had given us a chance. It's an act of love towards yourself. The last thing I want to tell you is that the key to doing more is to do less. I know you'll figure it out. Love, future you. Where is it? This part of the letter was quite interesting to me. You're doing just enough to quiet the part of you that says you're not doing enough. It's like working towards something just enough to feel satisfied with it, or just enough to convince yourself that you're doing enough, but it's like really deep down, you know you could be committing more to something. Future you is revealing that you were successful in some endeavor. Because they're saying, even if I had failed, which means that you didn't fail, you were successful. But even if I had, I would still have wanted you to try. So like, even if future you was writing to you from some point in the future where they had failed at something, they probably would still give you advice to give something a chance. They would never say to you, like, just forget about it. Just forget about it. Just give up. It's not going to work out. Because then you're always going to live your life wondering what could have been, wondering like, what if I did give something my all? What if I did give something 100%? I think future you really, really doesn't want you to live with any regrets. And so they're asking you to reevaluate and like be honest with yourself about why you're not fully committing to something. That's an act of love towards yourself, to commit to something. And they're saying it's the point. Like if you feel like, but I don't know where it's going to lead, I don't know what I'm doing, they're kind of saying that's the point. If you knew for a fact what was going to happen, it defeats the purpose of committing to yourself. It defeats the purpose of having faith in yourself. You don't need faith if it's 100% certain. Otherwise, that's not faith. That's just being informed. And so part of where you're at in the journey, as they look back at you now, they're seeing, oh, the whole point of my lesson at that point was to have faith. That was like the whole point of things being orchestrated that way. So they're giving you that little nugget. And then this final message, I feel like this is probably for you to interpret. The key to doing more is to do less. I felt that maybe it had something to do with like the quality of your efforts versus the quantity, but this will be for you to interpret. The key to doing more is to do less. I know you'll figure it out. So that is future you's letter. And then the oracle card that we have for you, this is number 28. So I'm gonna read this from the guidebook. Group number 1, I just did something very weird, which was probably not a coincidence, but this is card number 28. And I just opened the book to a page that is not number 28, not even page 28. And I was confidently reading this as if this is your card. So I don't even know how that happened, but I think we're gonna read this one too, because there's probably a message for you there as well. The fact that I just like so confidently went to it and was like, yep, that's your message. But let's read Let's read 28 first. Chain flame. A flame ignites the DNA chain. Like a domino effect, all its pieces merge and fall against this magnetic force. The fire starts. The chain forms and continues to travel to places that are not yet visible. It is a process born from the seed of the burning flame. Each link ignites a different energy in frequency and color that gently communicates and intertwines with the next. From the flame born in the vastness of darkness, a full color painting takes place and forms. The word activation is coming to my mind very strongly when I read this passage. Like, there's certain things, you're going through some kind of activation right now. And I'm also thinking about those popping ears, like anything that you're sensing in your physical body that is kind of strange, like the popping sensation, or it could be like ringing ears, it could be feeling tingles, feeling shifts in temperature, feeling pressure in certain parts of your body, like any sort of odd physical sensations that you're experiencing. It could be because you're going through some kind of energetic, or like this passage said, DNA activations. There could also be physical locations that you go to, physical places that you show up at that activate something in you. It's important to do it in person. I'm hearing that. Any important encounters that you have coming up, it may be best to do things in person. Like, for example, an in-person meeting rather than a virtual meeting. Or this could be a message from future you that you're about to meet someone in person. That's very important. So, wow, okay. The passage that I started reading for you, time frame already started. So your activation has already started, and it's going to last for years to come. The big picture, your purpose watches you. You heeded the call and a new path begins. It will be a long but wonderful trip. The vision sharpens, and with it, all the rest of the senses. Perspective and perception change and show us the big picture. Seeing more is wonderful. Just be aware of what that means so you don't come upon unpleasant surprises. Seeing more means seeing more in all the senses. Sometimes you will hear what others still do not hear, and sometimes you will see situations that at times you would have preferred not to see. Here will remain your greatest learning. In accepting both parts of what this path brings to you, would you stop loving someone just for knowing that when a fight breaks out, you will feel more pain than if you had not loved? This path will offer an infinite magic accompanying your life, and you will be able to see and perceive all kinds of experiences on a larger scale, amplifying your connections. It will be your challenge and then your courage. If you accept that this cosmic vision will change your life completely, with all that that means. And then for the keywords, we have courage, breadth, new path, magic, brave, journey to the center, wide consciousness, and expansive connection. Wow. Both of these passages have feelings of something being activated in you, an activation that has already started. It seems that this is an activation that is preparing you to step into your true purpose. I'm also noticing that passage was number 10. This is number 28. Numerologically, both of those are number 1. So it's like you're waiting for a new chapter to start in your life, but future you is saying, actually, it's already begun. When future you looks back, they will pinpoint this time of your life right now as the start of the new era. Even if it doesn't feel like that to you right now, yeah, I just saw 1010. Even if it doesn't feel like that to you right now, you will in the future recognize now as the start of your new era. 10/28, October 28th, or like the end of October could be a significant time. And there's something about you being activated, and then it causes a chain reaction until you see the full picture. But I feel like future you is saying, don't try to see too much of the full picture just yet. There's some parts that you're not meant to see yet, or like, it's as if you are trying to watch a movie from like the 1.5 hour mark. You're not going to have any context about what is happening or why it's happening or even how you should feel about it. I think don't try to see too much into the future is an important message from future you. And they're showing me, it's like if you were watching a movie from 1.5 hours in, and because you don't have any context about what has happened until then, you're just seeing that scene and thinking like it's a sad moment in the movie. But if you had seen the whole thing, you would actually recognize it as a happy moment in the movie. You need the context of living through the events leading up to the future to understand what it really means. And sometimes, like when we're just trying to get future predictions, we can sort of get cut off from that context. So I think future you is saying, like, don't be frustrated if there's certain things that haven't been revealed to you yet, and just trust that you do know everything that you are supposed to know at this point. I'm even thinking of like an artist, a visual artist, a makeup artist, where, you know, halfway through you're like, what are you doing? That looks awful. And it's like, yeah, that's because I'm not done, you know? I don't know what that clanging noise was. I don't know if you could hear that. But there's like a clanging noise coming from somewhere. Maybe that's a sign for someone. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Okay, so I'm going to leave these over here and then we'll get into the tarot now. And I'm just gonna go ahead and shuffle and pull cards for all of the decks, and then we'll get into the messages. So what does future you want you to know about the nature of the transformation you're going through? Okay, we have the Ace of Pentacles. And the Moon. That makes sense. And what does future you want you to know about the person you are becoming? The Three of Pentacles. And Judgment. What does future you want you to know about any signs that you'll see, or any advice for aligning with this future timeline? Five of Wands. Okay, and then we have the Two of Swords and the Queen of Wands, which came out together, but I feel like I meant to put them like this. And then any final messages or advice from future you? Creative Ghosts, the grip of memories. Don't let the should have haunt you. Use it to move you forward and away from the past. Like literally what we were talking about with, they don't want you to have any regrets. They don't want you to think of what could have been. And creative versatility. Diversity is a strength, not a weakness. A painter does not just use one paintbrush or color. The writer has more than one muse. Okay, so we're going to go through this whole spread. I just want to say a really big thank you to Tarot Stack for providing all of these decks, for sponsoring this video, and also for making the fundraising efforts of this video possible. I spoke a little bit about that in the intro if you would like to know more details about it. But I have been a long-time collaborator with Tarot Stack. They have a collection of indie tarot and oracle decks that is always growing, and they've even started to publish their own decks. In fact, 3 of the decks that we're using today are Tarot Stack publications, where they teamed up with an independent deck creator and helped them get their deck printed and published and marketed out there into the world. They have introduced me to so many different amazing cards and creators and opened my eyes to different interpretations through their art. I'm really, really grateful to be a collaborator of theirs, and I'm gonna have all of these decks linked down below. I'm also going to have just the link to their website, which is my affiliate link. So if you purchase through these links, you will be helping the fundraiser cause. So thank you very much for that. And now let's get into your messages. There were 2 interpretations that immediately came to my mind when I saw this Ace of Pentacles. One was something pertaining to your career. So the more kind of literal meaning of the Ace of Pentacles, which is a new beginning in your career, a new job opportunity, a new source of income or an increase in income. And so speaking about your life purpose earlier, I definitely think your profession is tied into your life purpose in a big way. Like there's a certain work that you were meant to do, a certain way that you were meant to show up into the world that has manifested for future you. And then the second thing that came to my mind with this Ace of Pentacles is finally, I heard the word finally, something is materializing. Something is becoming real. Something is becoming physical. Something that until now was energetic, was an intuitive knowing. It was something that you sensed, but not something that is right in front of you. I feel like the moon really confirmed that, and it sort of let me know this is something that you've been really in your head about. With the time that it has taken to manifest, there may be a lot of times where you felt delusional. Why am I still hoping this is going to happen? Why am I still thinking this is going to happen after all this time? I'm hearing, why am I still dreaming about this? That thing that has haunted, interesting, like ghosts, that thing that has haunted your dreams in a good way, question mark? It's so hard like sitting with this emotion because I feel like the desire itself is a good thing, but sometimes it feels like a bad thing to you. Sometimes it feels like something that is haunting you because you're like, if this isn't gonna happen, why can't I just let it go? Why am I still thinking about it after all this time? Why am I still wishing for it after all this time? The energy is still very much there, even if you tried to let it go. Because I don't actually think it's you letting it go. I think it's the mind creating a story that you have to. And your soul's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm still here. I'm still holding on. I'm still hopeful. I don't know what you're talking about. Hence the continued dreams, hence the continued sense of this energy lingering around you, because it's meant to materialize, and it finally is. And future you is letting you know that this thing that has been energetic, that has been intuitive, that has been like sensed lingering around you for so long, it's finally materializing in its full physical form. The word full is very important. It's not part of it. It's not something that looks like it. It's the full thing. It's the full, I'm hearing it's the full thing exactly as you were told. So you received some kind of message, some kind of download, some kind of prediction, like a prophecy of something that was meant to be yours. And Spirit is saying, make no mistake. It is going to appear to you in its full physical form exactly as you were told. There's like unfinished business. If you're still feeling it lingering around you, if you're still dreaming, if you're still feeling that longing, it's unfinished business. No, you're not crazy. You have felt that way perhaps for quite some time. But this is finally materializing. So that's the transformation that you're going through. So yes, for many of you, it could be pertaining to like your destined career path or just something manifesting in its physical form. And of course it could be both. You could even claim those as two different messages. In terms of the person you're becoming, we have the Three of, and I think I said Three of Pentacles at first, but this could actually be the Three of Cups because it looks like seashells. Either way, this is you in a group or in a team. Things that you currently do alone, you will be doing with other people. There's a sense of, actually, I feel like I'm making mistakes with the cards for this group, but I do feel like I'm supposed to be. Like that extra card that I read from the guidebook, I feel like you were meant to see that. And I also feel like you were meant to get both of the messages of the Three of Pentacles and the Three of Cups. Like both of those are for you. So it's work collaboration, but it's also friendship. So you're either collaborating with your friends or you have become friends with your collaborators. It could, for some of you, you could start as friends and then make the decision to work together. For others of you, it could be the other way around, where like you decide to collaborate and then you build a friendship. But that's what I'm seeing. It's like a small, because it's only 3, like a small core group that you work with, that you create with, and you are also friends with. But it's things that you're already doing alone. So make no mistake that you like need these people to fulfill your potential. It's already everything you're doing on your own. But now you have more minds put together. Now you have more input. You can make something different. You can make something unique. You can make something interesting. It will be more fun. It's not that you need to, it's that your souls chose to work together. So this like professional purpose, even if you were doing it on your own, you could still fulfill it. But you have these soul family members who you want to team up with, and so you will. This could also be in general in terms of who you're becoming. You could be becoming more of a team player. Like if you have sort of identified yourself as a loner or liking to work alone or feeling like things can only get done properly when I do it by myself, or I don't want to share my creative vision with someone else. I don't want to work with someone else. I have my own way of doing things. Like if you're one of those people, that might be changing, where you actually welcome the input from others, you welcome that feedback and that collaboration, and sometimes you may even prefer working in a group. I find it very interesting that there's 3 eyes on this judgment creature, and three, maybe it's literally 3 people, like you're working with 2 other people and looking at the project or looking at the work with 3 different eyes from 3 different perspectives. I'm hearing it make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. And something about that's the perfect number to create an interesting fusion. I don't know what that means, but it's like 3 worlds blending, and that the 3 different tastes is what makes it really interesting. And nobody gets lost in the mix, you know? It doesn't become this other unrecognizable thing. It's like, oh, I see where group number 1 did their little thing here. Like the red eye person, that's totally them. And like the black eye person, I see what they did there. The blue eye person, that's just the different colors of the eyes, you know? But like, Yeah, that's so specific. Like 3 distinct energies coming together to make something that is, everybody feels like it's them, but also everybody's differences are recognized. That's like very masterful. It's like, if you told me it was just you who made this, I would also believe you, but I can also see everybody's input if I look at it in that way. It's like a weird energetic thing where it's like, it's not a third of each of us, it's all of us. I don't even know what. Let me know if you know what this is talking about. And then yes, Judgment is also a card that makes me think of answering your call and stepping into your life's purpose. Something like ghosts, judgment, no regrets about what could have been. There's something from the past is making a comeback for you. An old dream, an old hope, it's making a comeback. A strong one. Because it was meant to at this point. It was meant to make a comeback. Something from the past is returning. And you'll understand why it was meant to happen now and why it was not meant to happen sooner. And more importantly, you'll recognize this thing from the past that's coming back. It actually never abandoned you. It was always, this was always part of the plan. You never lost it. You never dropped it. You never messed it up. It never abandoned you. This whole time you had been on the correct journey. Something with Judgment as well. It's a moment of truth to show what you're made of. That's how I feel it. I actually feel that way with the Queen of Wands as well sometimes. Like this is your moment to really show off and show the world what you've been preparing, what you've been working on. You're taking the stage. That could be literal, it could be metaphorical. You will have more visibility to the extent that you want to. You can have as much visibility as you want, as much public recognition as you want. If you wanted to do something more behind the scenes, more anonymous, you can do that. If you want to be front and center, you can do that as well. There may be a specific job you're meant to have or a specific field you're meant to be in, but how you show up there is entirely up to you. And you can still, there's not like one specific way you have to show up, otherwise you don't fulfill your purpose. If you're there and you're doing your thing in the way that you want to, then you're fulfilling your purpose. There's no need to worry about how you should be doing things. And I feel like that's the advice from future you. I feel like this Two of Swords was meant to be in the middle, where you're torn between doing what makes you feel confident and what makes you feel like you're in your element, and doing something that you're not aligned with to conform to what somebody else said. And you don't need to do that. The advice from future you is to let those feelings of misalignment guide you. Definitely don't ignore them. When you have a nagging feeling that something is wrong, or when you start to feel frustrated or frazzled or like uptight, you can let go of that energy. So like, oh, I don't really want to take that approach, but this person is saying like, oh, that's just what you have to do to be successful, but like it doesn't really feel right to me. You don't have to do those things that don't feel right to you. And also, when you start thinking about your manifestation, when you start thinking about this thing that you're manifesting, you start thinking about the details. Maybe you start thinking about the how and the when and the why and the where. And when you notice yourself starting to get worked up, it means it's not yours to worry about. That's like a key that future you wants to give you. When you start feeling, it's like you feel heated, you feel bothered, you feel all tangled up when you're thinking about something, that means it's not yours to worry about. Like, I feel like I'm hearing your inner critic likes to crash the party of your own visualizations. It like comes in as like, yeah, but how is that gonna happen? It's like, this isn't your party, inner critic. Like we're visualizing, we're daydreaming, we're living in our desired reality. Why are you even here? This is not yours to worry about. You're not useful here. You're literally not useful here. So yeah, anything that makes you start to feel frazzled, it's not yours to worry about. And I think that's especially when it comes to when you start to get in your head about the details of how something is going to manifest, or like what's the right way, what's the wrong way, what if this doesn't work, what if that doesn't work, what if I say this and then it doesn't work. Like it's endless. It's endless. Like the party crashing of the inner critic, of the critical mind. And for what? You did this for what? Just not yours to worry about. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of cliche advice, but future you is definitely saying just be yourself. And as much as you can to do things in person, because that's when people will really see and fall in love with your energy. Some of you have an idea that you're like socially awkward, or that you don't make a good impression, or that you like embarrass yourself. And that's just not the case at all. People love your sunny energy. People love your bubbly and enthusiastic energy. No matter what someone in the past or in your childhood might have told you or made you feel, people love that energy about you. Okay, so specific message. If someone has ever told you in the past, like, calm down, you're doing too much, you're being so loud, like you're really doing a lot right now, you should calm down. If whoever talked to you like that, it's because they saw how much you were the life of the party and everybody loved you, and they were like envious of that. And so they told you to tone it down. That's like a very specific message for some of you who were told that. And ever since then, you've been ashamed of being your bubbly and enthusiastic self. People love it. I'm hearing people eat it up. It's a wonderful tension breaker. It's a wonderful icebreaker. People love your warm and radiant energy, and you have it, group number one. You have it. It may be buried down in you out of shame, or like you haven't tapped into it for a while, but it's there. Your fire is there. Your pizzazz, your spark is there. With this Queen of Wands, future you is asking you to reconnect with it, but is also letting you know that they have reconnected with it. Future you, they very much feel like a Queen of Wands. That's how they would identify their own energy, regardless of your gender, of course. Yeah, I think future you is really confident, lights up the room, commands the room, commands attention. And when you meet people in person, that's when it really, really shines through. You have a magnetic energy about you. So I think there's a piece of advice not to hide that away, and that will bring you amazing opportunities as well. Yeah, and then this advice, we talked about the ghosts a little bit, but this, diversity is a strength, not a weakness. Like, what makes you different is going to be your greatest strength. We really, really do not need more people trying to conform. My pole dancing teacher was just talking about something like that yesterday, where like people don't stand out in the competitions because they're just doing the choreography exactly as they were taught it. Like, they're not adding any of their own personal flair to it, and so they don't stand out in the competition, and like their performance could be kind of forgettable. Like, she was saying something like that. So maybe you've even been made to feel bad about taking creative liberties. Like, no, that's not how you're supposed to do the dance. That's not how you're supposed to play the piece. That's not how you're supposed to paint the picture. And like, I'm sorry, whoever told you that, they didn't get it. Like, some girls get it and some girls don't. It's your stepping outside of the box. It's you're adding your personal touch to things. And oh my gosh, I know how disheartening it is, especially as a creative. Like, one of the things that I hate, and it's like everybody asks, or I feel like this is so important when you're a musician, they're like, who do you sound like? Bitch, me. What do you mean, who do I sound like? But you'll see it everywhere. Like, people being like, oh, if you like this artist and this artist, then you'll like this one because they sound like them. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm sure I sound like somebody, okay? I'm not saying I'm like the most unique musician in the world, but I don't know who I sound like. And why do I have to sound like something in reference to someone else? I don't even know what genre I am, okay? Like, just, yeah, if boxes are giving you grief, it's because the boxes were not meant for you. And when you start, that's another excellent example of the moment you start getting worked up about it, it's not yours to worry about. If you're like, but what box am I supposed to go into? And like, what rule am I supposed to? Then it's not for you to worry about. That's the key from future you. When you get worked up, it means you were never meant to worry about that. Because the things that you are meant to worry about, the solution will come to you. If it gets you tangled up, that's not yours. Just throw it away or give it to a higher power. I'm probably a broken record at this point, but the biggest advice from future you is about discerning what was mine to worry about in the first place and what was never mine to worry about. And it just so happens that a lot of the stuff that was never meant for you to worry about is like the small details of your journey. And I think that's why they say don't try to look too far into the future, because they see you. When you start looking into the future, you want to know all the details about like how is that going to happen? And I get it, right? We like to know what's ahead, but like they said in the letter, the whole point at this point is kind of that you don't know, and you just trust that like the new era has begun. The new era has begun. I have been activated. And that's all I need to know, respectfully. And just the rest, I'm gonna let it fly away. Yes. Anything else? I'm just gonna take some dice. Any other messages, any signs to look out for? We have Saturn, Gemini, and I feel like this was on 6 and then I flipped it and it turned into 9. So the numbers 6 and 9 could be significant as well. June 9th, September 6th, the year 1996, a life path 6 or 9. Or these numbers could be signs, like if you see repeating 6s or repeating 9s, or like a combination. If you see things in 2s, because Gemini, that's the sign of the twins. So like, for example, if you saw 2 butterflies flying by at the same time, or if you saw 2 feathers on the ground, like when you see things in pairs, I feel like that's an important, like the signs will come in 2s. There's something like that. You may get a lot of signs through words with this Gemini energy as well. So you may hear words spoken or see words written down. You may even dream about something written down that sticks with you. Like I remember once I had a dream that I was reading a letter, and like I was literally like reading the words, and even when I woke up I could see it, and like the phrases stuck with me. So your higher self, your spiritual team will likely be communicating to you a lot through like actual words and phrases rather than just symbols or feelings, which hopefully means that they're communicating the message in a quite literal way. Ghosts could be a sign. I'm thinking of the ghost emoji. I think these are poppies. At least I've been referring to them as such since I got this deck. So poppies could be a sign as well. Something about stripes, a striped pattern, a zebra. I don't know why I'm thinking of like, Shima is like Japanese for stripe. I don't know. Which also means island. So island could also be a sign. And now I'm thinking, I was just talking about the song La Isla Bonita yesterday, which I think is Madonna. La Isla Bonita. I don't even know how the song goes. I used to know girls who sang it in karaoke all the time. That might be a song you wanna, maybe I'll link it. Maybe I'll link it, or you might wanna look at the lyrics. There could be a message for you in there. And then we also have the planet of Saturn. And when I saw this, it definitely made me think that you've matured a lot. You've matured and you're ready for more responsibility. And if you're, for this thing from the past that's coming back around, I think future you is saying it's gonna be different this time because you've matured a lot. And maybe like you had to reach a certain level of maturity in order to receive your blessings and truly be responsible with them. And I think a really easy example of this is like if maybe there's a young person who really wants to be famous, but you know, fame does a lot to your psyche, and if you receive it when you're too young, like when your brain hasn't matured or when you don't have enough life experiences, it could really mess with you, or it could just not be what you really envisioned. And so maybe you are meant to receive it at a later age, like something about like your age or your maturity indicating when you will receive a manifestation, which it's important to note, like you can't rush that, you know? So it doesn't mean like, oh, I did something wrong and it's not happening fast enough. Like, no, you age and mature at a certain rate, and like your life experiences happen at a certain rate. It's nothing about you not doing enough or not going fast enough. Like some things are just time. Some things really are just time. Like it has to be the right time. And I think that's what Saturn wants to remind you of. When Saturn enters Gemini, I think it's going to be like super a long time from now. It may even be like 2030, but I'm still going to look it up because your guidebook passage said like the activations, the new era has already started and it's going to last for years to come. So this might be an indication of like the new era you've entered into is going to be this number of years. One second. When will Saturn enter Gemini? Yeah, it is 2030. Oh, I love that for me. Yeah, between 2030 and 2032. So you've entered a new era that is going to last for several years. Like if you're watching this video when it comes out, that's what, 6 to 8 years? That's a long, prosperous era if I've ever seen one. So yeah, what else? Virgo energy could be significant because like I'm thinking of the Hermit card with number 9. Gemini, Virgo, Capricorn, Aquarius. Yeah. Also rings could be a sign because I'm thinking how Saturn has rings. Rings could be a sign, or there could be a certain ring or rings that you wear that are good luck for you. Someone could be getting you a ring. Someone could be putting a ring on it because we have this pair, message of a pair as well. Yeah. Okay. I think those are all the messages now. So thank you so much for letting me do this reading for you. Thank you to future you for coming through and sharing these messages. And thank you so much once again to Tarot Stack for sponsoring today's video and for making our fundraising efforts possible. I'm going to have all of the decks that were used in this reading linked down below. And I'm also going to have Tarot Stack's website linked down below. So any deck that you purchase from my links will contribute to the fundraising. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where you can watch tons of timeless, exclusive pick a card readings, just like this one. The Patreon community actually came up with this topic today, so I love them for that. And on that note, you can also decide the topics for future readings. I don't remember if I said that already, but yeah, I'm gonna have that link down below. My music channel, which includes the intro song of this video, that is an original song. I will also have my latest release linked down below. And finally, my vlog channel and my merch, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to all versions of you, past, present, future, parallel, your higher self, your human self, and your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number twos. So if you guys chose the brown calcite, this is going to be your reading. Can I just say, I really like the energy of this group. It just, it feels very calm. Calm and just simple. Maybe that's your current energy, maybe that's future you's energy. But let's start off with your letter. We're gonna read this first, the channeled letter from future you. Then we're gonna take a look at this oracle card for any opening messages from them, anything they want you to know about sort of the main theme or the main energy of the reading today, and then we're going to get into the tarot. So without further ado, let's take a look at your letter. Dear me, I just want to tell you that everything is fine. Everything will be fine. I really relate to you more than you realize. A lot of my healing was realizing I never needed to fix you. I still have the same mind, I just love it now. I have more money and more accomplishments under my belt, but I can't say it hugely changes the way I feel about myself. You are so lovable, it's not even funny. In time, you'll see how loved you are by the people around you, and some people you don't know yet. Most importantly, you'll see how much I love you. You're not gone, you're very much still here with me, and I'm there with you now. It's all okay. We're just here and we're just being. Everything is as it needs to be. Love you. Current, future, and past. So the biggest thing I think future you wanted you to know is that this was a part that really stood out to me. I really relate to you more than you realize. A lot of my healing was realizing I never needed to fix you. So it sort of gave me the impression that many of you might imagine future you as this vastly different being who is like, oh, past me, like I don't know her. Like you're waiting to become future you so that you can like throw away or stop associating with a current version of you. Like I'm gonna be so much different, I'm gonna be so much better in the future. And future you is like, nope, still me, like we're still the same person, I just love you now. You know, my healing was not about becoming this vastly different person and being like so far removed from the person you are today because I'm just so light years ahead of you and like better than you. They're like, no, I'm still you. Like I'm you, you're me, we're the same person. The only difference is that I love you more now. And I really embrace who I am. I'm not different from you. I'm not a different version. I'm the same. And I love me now, and I love you then, and I love me in the future. They also, you know, they didn't say like, dear past me, love future you, which I think group 1 did. They just said like, dear me, love you. We're the same person across time. Like that's what they really wanted you to know. And they love you in current, future, and past. iterations, and they just want you to know that everything is going to be okay. I still have the same mind, I just love it now. So for those of you who get frustrated about, you know, why am I like this? Why am I like this? Why is my brain like this? Why do I have the thoughts I do? Why do I feel the way I do? Like, so frustrating. They're like, oh no, we're still like that, but now I just love you. So I don't, you know, I don't beat myself up for, you know, being anxious, for example. I don't beat myself up for having negative thoughts. I don't beat myself up for getting stuck in a loop sometimes. Like, I've come to love the way that my mind works, and even see how a lot of the time it's a strength. It works to my advantage. So this is just an example, right? But let's say you have a brain that nitpicks at the smallest little details, and you're like, why can't I just let it go? Why can't I just look at the big picture? Why do I have to sweat all the small things? And perhaps future you has found a career path where paying attention to the tiniest details makes them a shit ton of money. Like, not that it's about money, but you know what I mean? Like, they've found a way that, or even a community or a space where the very way your brain is wired is like a strength, and it's celebrated. They realize that they never had to change the way your mind works. If the way your mind works wasn't like fit for society, then it needed to change, not you. They did say they have more money though, so it's a little bit about money. They have more money and more accomplishments, but love themselves the same. So they're letting you know it's not like, oh, we're gonna make this money and accomplish these things and then suddenly feel more worthy. You know, I love you, aka myself, just the same. And they're saying in the future you'll realize more and more like how lovable you are and come to love yourself more and more. And I just thought it was such a sweet message. Everything is as it needs to be. So let's take a look at your oracle card as well. We have number 31 and 555 on the camera as I'm showing you this card. I feel like some of you, this could be a version of you who is 31 years old. Obviously, if 31 is in your future. But let's see what... It could also be the year 2031. Number 31. Trees. Very fitting title. Trees. How much can flourish, grow, live, and survive on an ice floe? If the ice melts and conditions change, water will see to it that life thrives, being its main component. But now the coldness has made the potentiality a rigid and impenetrable structure. At first glance, the forest seems to triumph, but we realize mere appearances, since when looking carefully, you can begin to notice the parts of the white ice climbing on them. If the ice fell from above towards the top of the trees, it would be what we know as snow, and there would be nothing strange about it. But here, the ice is presented from the bottom up, and this changes the whole equation. Will the ice break through the root, or will the ice block its expansion? It will depend on how strong the root is, or rather, how solid the ice is. Look closely at this painting. Observe, how does it make you feel? This will be the main meaning of the card. A big point of this deck is to draw your own interpretations from the card, but just to share what came to mind for me, it's like the tree is growing somewhere in inhospitable conditions for it. Like the passage said, if it's just snowing on top of the trees, nothing adverse will happen to it, but it's literally taking root. It's trying to gain nutrients from something that is literally ice cold, like something that is devoid of nourishment, and then it like permeates from the bottom up. This could be a message about where you're placing your roots, where you're settling. Now, for some reason, I'm thinking about trying to change someone who is really cold. You know, it's kind of giving I can fix them energy. I can warm up their heart if I just if I just plant my loving roots and settle into their heart, I can warm them up. But then no, the ice starts to creep into you. It could be about being aware of your physical environment and how, yeah, like you're being made cold or you're being made rigid. Where you plant yourself is very important. It would be quite foolish to plant a seed in ice and then blame the seed when it doesn't grow. So maybe you've been doing that to yourself a little bit, like judging yourself for not having growth and for not having progress. And it's like, well, where did you plant yourself? Is the environment hospitable for you? Is it nourishing you? Are you putting all of the onus on yourself to be a seed that can flourish in ice? That doesn't seem fair. That doesn't seem realistic. So there's many different ways you can interpret that. That was just mine. But yeah, let's get into the tarot now and see the details of your transformation. This is kind of a specific message, but this image also reminds me of, you know, when you buy sprouts, you like buy them in a box and they grow and you like snip them off and they grow back. Like a chia pet type thing. Is giving chia vibes. But I was actually thinking of eating sprouts for some reason. What does future you want you to know about the transformation or rebirth you have been through? We have the Knight of Swords and we have the Seven of Swords. What does future you want you to know about the person you've become? Ace of Wands. Group number 1 got this as well. And I think, whoa. Group number 1 got these exact cards as well. The Three of, I think this is the Three of Cups and Judgment. They didn't get the Ace of Wands, but that's very interesting. If you were drawn to group number 1, as well, that may be a sign for you to check it out. And what messages or advice does future you have for you? We have the Three of Swords and the King of Pentacles. And then for our oracle cards, messages and advice from future you, we have hopelessness, that emotional spectrum and creativity. Find support and encouragement, but also investigate this. Are you focused on the right thing or doing what you think you should be doing? And then we have mastery, the intersection of effort and skill. Use your creative muscles to make them stronger. Just before I forget, I do feel like there's something about your physical health improving, because there was that message about sprouts, and then I thought about, like, I think sprouts are pretty healthy. Like if you eat bean sprouts, broccoli sprouts, alfalfa sprouts, sprouted grains, very good for you supposedly. So when I had that message about sprouts, I was thinking about like, okay, maybe you're getting healthy. And then when I saw use your muscles, that gave me a vibe of someone who's like working out. So maybe future you is like taking their health or fitness very seriously, or they have some new kind of routine, incorporating more healthy things. Sprouting is also making me think of growing. Like, so you could be growing your muscles, you could be growing hair. You're definitely growing your bank account, honey. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to say that specific message before I forgot it. But I want to just take this time to give a huge thank you to Tarot Stack for providing all of the decks that we're using today, for sponsoring today's video, and also for making our fundraising efforts possible. If you want to know more details about that, I spoke a little bit about it in the intro. But I've been a long time collaborator with Tarot Stack. I'm actually working on a project with them right now, which I'm very excited about, but I'm so grateful for what they do overall for independent tarot and oracle artists, creators in our community. 3 of the decks that we're using today were actually published by Tarot Stack. So they teamed up with these indie artists and helped them get their deck printed and published and marketed. And I've discovered so many amazing decks thanks to them. In addition to their own original published decks, of course, they feature a huge selection of indie tarot and oracle decks. Their collection is always growing. So I'm gonna have all of the decks that we used today linked down below. And I'm also going to just have my affiliate link for the whole website. So any deck that you would purchase through that link is going to support our fundraising efforts, which I'm super grateful for. So thank you so much, Tarot Stack. Thank you so much to you guys for listening to that. And let's get into your messages. So with the Knight of Swords, there was a feeling of something accelerating, but it's not just that life is randomly getting faster for you. It doesn't feel... It feels like it's very much in your control. You're making life happen faster because you're making decisions more quickly and with more clarity. This is something I see come up in readings sometimes, where it's like you're gaining the ability to just get the ball rolling and start something as soon as you think of it. So for example, if you're like, I think I'm gonna start going to the gym, or I think I'm gonna get back to the gym, maybe before you would have that would have just been a thought that was sitting in your head for a few weeks. And then one day, a few weeks later, you finally get around to like looking up gyms in your area. And then you're like, okay, I see a couple, I'll think about it. Or maybe you get distracted and then like you don't come back to it for another month. So like from the time you had the idea to do something to the time it finally happens, it could take days, weeks, even months, maybe even years. I've been saying I'm gonna get my driver's license for years. So like, I get it. And there's nothing wrong with that, honestly. Like sometimes it's just divine timing. But you are going to notice a shift where you're able to act more quickly on your ideas because you're just so clear about what you want to do. So you're like, yep, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna do my research right now. Okay, there's this one. I just saw you, I don't know if you're literally doing this, but I just saw someone making a spreadsheet. Like they're so on top of their stuff. They're like, okay, I've classified the gyms by location closest to my house for the best equipment, the best amenities. I sorted them by price. Like I'm reading reviews. It's like you're on top of your stuff and you're doing this research. Wow, okay, this is kind of dramatic wording, but it's like you're falling in love with that process of doing research to provide the best life for yourself. And you've maybe done this for other people and been like, I should do this for myself. Like for an example, I do all this research about what's the best food for my dog. Why don't I do all this research for myself of like, what's the best food for myself? I am a complex organism with many needs too, am I not? Like, yeah, falling in love with taking care of yourself and providing the best life possible for yourself, which feels quite emotional to talk about. That actually reminds me of an oracle deck I have, the fallback deck. There's a card that says fall in love with how you feel when you're taking care of you, or something to that effect. And I think that's definitely the vibe that future you has. Interesting, we have 2 Aquarius cards here. I don't know if you have Aquarius placements, or maybe there is or there's going to be an Aquarius person in your life who really influences you in a positive way. But that is energy that is coming up. It could be Aquarius moon or Venus or rising as well. Yeah, so quick judgment, clarity, decisiveness, being on top of stuff. And this makes your life happen faster. You could literally, okay, this is kind of a specific message, but you could literally join a class or like sign up for a course and then have some qualification like a couple months later because you just sped through it. And the funny thing is, like, you could have been procrastinating on it for years. And then when you finally do it, it just takes a couple months, you know? Even things like cleaning your house, you procrastinate for months about cleaning your house. And then one day on a random like Wednesday, you just get the whole thing done in one day. Like you get it done quickly. Maybe because of, yeah, it's because of a burst of energy, because you definitely have increased energy with this Ace of Wands, but just more clarity. You're also becoming a much quicker judge of people because you just don't have time. When I saw the Seven of Swords, I'm like, oh, we really do not have time for bullshit anymore. I think, and this, I'm hearing for some of you, this has to do with like just getting older. Like as you get older, your BS meter gets a lot sharper and your tolerance for BS just gets a lot lower. Because I think you just realize how precious your time is and how short life is, like the older you get. And so you're like, no, I don't have time for your shenanigans. Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sorry if that makes me rude. I literally don't care. I just do not have time. Seven of Swords, it's like sneaky behavior, fake behavior, superficiality, surface level stuff. I think you're getting very good. You're getting very good at discerning when someone genuinely likes you versus when someone, oh, okay. The first message that came through was that you're getting very good at discerning when someone genuinely likes you versus when they just want something from you. So like they're being kind of shady. In that case, the other person has sneaky intentions, right? Because it's like, oh, maybe they really want your opportunities, or they really want your resources, or they, you know, they really want your clout, I'm hearing. Interesting. You know, they want something from you, so they're acting like they like you genuinely as a person, and you're very good at picking up on that sneaky shit right away. But then something else came through that was also, you're very good at discerning, does this person genuinely like me for me, or do they just like some idea of me, some projection of me that they created? Because in that case, it's not necessarily that the other person has bad intentions. It's not really like you're picking up on BS or sneaky behavior from them. You're just picking up on like, oh, you like an idealized projection of me. You don't like actual me. So even if they have good intentions, you're like, nah, I don't think this is gonna work. You can tell very quickly when people are really seeing through to the real you. Perhaps it's like this distinct feeling that you get. And this Aquarius energy, it's like Aquarian energy feels like the future. You might not even know, I just saw 2222. You might not even know why in that moment you can tell. Nah, I can just tell this person is like, I'm not gonna vibe with them, or the other way around. I can just tell I'm really gonna like have a significant relationship with this person. It's just like you're sensing the future. And you might not be able to explain why. And so that also, it makes things faster in your life because you're like, nope, that's not for me. Same thing goes for opportunities as well. Just so quickly you're able to be like, nope, that's not for me. Yes, that's for me. And you trust your judgment, and because you're proving yourself right every time. Like if you were to make a spreadsheet, you'd be like, oh, look, my intuition was correct here, and it was correct here, and it was correct here. I can literally see you looking at this spreadsheet and low-key getting mad because it's like, who convinced me that my intuition was off? Like when did I get that idea? Because according to my calculations, according to my spreadsheet here, my gut feeling has been right every time. So I don't know who planted this idea in my head that it was incorrect, but I've been knowing the truth of what is meant for me, you know? Yeah, so your discernment, it's becoming very quick, very sharp. I'm thinking of another oracle deck now that is like a card about discernment. It has a snake, it has Libra energy. Snakes could be a sign for you. Libra energy, or that image of the scales, could be a sign for you. Future you may have also had some legal situation work out in their favor. I don't want to get too into legal stuff because I'm just a person on the internet, but take that message how you will. Some things, some contracts, some processes could be working out in your favor, or like the verdict is coming out in your favor. What else? Renewed energy, like we talked about, definitely renewed physical energy. You're older, obviously, because this is in the future, but I think you feel younger in the future than you feel now. In the sense of feeling more energetic, feeling more focused, feeling more playful, I'm hearing as well, more playful, more inspired. You don't take yourself too seriously. It's funny, I feel like people might assume you do. Like, oh, you're so serious, you take yourself so seriously because of your low tolerance for bullshit. People take that as like you being serious or intimidating. And it's like, no, I'm actually goofy as heck. I'm actually playful as heck. You just don't get access to that. There's a difference. Just because you don't get access to that side of me doesn't mean that side of me doesn't exist. There's a difference. Yeah, you are maybe having just realizations of all of the things or people or situations that had been leeching from your energy. But this is your energy restored, creativity being restored as well. Yeah, these are talking about this Ace of Wands energy, because there's something you felt hopeless, or like you lost the excitement. You lost the excitement. You lost the motivation towards something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you stopped doing it. You could still be doing it, this activity, this job, this hobby, this creative process. It just doesn't hit the same as it used to. Didn't feel like that same spark. And that was normalized, which now you realize is fucked up. Okay, like for example, let's say like you're in a relationship with someone and you feel that spark and you feel so happy and giddy around them, and now you're losing passion in the relationship. And then when you tell people about it, like you talk to people around you, they're like, oh yeah, that's just how it is. That just happens. Or maybe you lost the spark in your job or in a creative project, and the people around you were like, oh yeah, that just happens with time. You just lose interest. You just, you stop getting inspired, and you know, all of your best work that's in your 20s and your 30s. And then like once you, or whatever, like an age that's past you now. And then once you get older, it's just like, it's the same spark isn't there anymore. Like people made up all these stories about this spark having an expiration date, and you are realizing firsthand that that's not the case at all, that the spark does not have a time limit, that the spark does not have an age limit. It just does because we decided it does. And then when people lose the spark, they're like, oh, I guess that's just life. I guess that's just getting older. And they just let the spark go out. But not you. You're bringing it back. You are rediscovering the spark in something that now at this moment that you're watching, maybe you notice has gone out or it's starting to go out, but you're finding that passion again. So it could be like so many things, right? It could be within a relationship that you have, within, well, I already said the examples, but like a hobby, a job, a creative pursuit. That spark is coming back and you're reaching a new level of mastery. So you're not getting comfortable. And that's the thing, right? People just get comfortable with it, you know? Like, oh, I'm losing spark in, like, okay, let's say I'm a tarot reader. I am. But let's say I was like, oh, like, I don't know, like tarot reading is just not like fun for me anymore. Like I'm losing my spark. And it's like, okay, well, when was the last time you tried to get better at it? When was the last time you read a book about it? When was the last time you learned more about it? Oh, never? You're just doing the same things over and over again and expecting to still be excited and interested and engaged? That sounds like a you problem. Like, I think you're just realizing, like, when did I start to accept all these BS narratives from other people? That like, oh, when you get older, you're just gonna lose the spark. What do you mean? I make the spark. Maybe you, maybe you're an artist and like you started to lose the spark in your art. So you start to challenge yourself to become better and better. You start to try more advanced things. You start to try different softwares. You start to explore artists in different genres and see what they're doing. Like, this sounds harsh, but it's like, if the spark is going out, it might just be because you got too comfortable or you got lazy. Like, I'm not saying that's you. I'm saying this is the realization you've come to about people who just peddle this narrative about like, oh, that's inevitably gonna happen one day. You're just gonna stop having fun because that's growing up is just like that. And you're like, no, like you're re-entering like a spring chicken era where like you're having fun again and childlike wonder is coming back and you're learning new things again. For maybe something you took for granted that you're like, oh, I know everything there is to know. I'm a master at it. You're never gonna stop learning. You're gonna start getting better and better. And you know, but you need to have the motivation yourself to do it, because you probably could very well get by and still be successful. Just keep doing the same things over and over. But you're like, I don't want to. I wanna learn more. I wanna master my craft more. I wanna spice it up more. I wanna grow more. I don't want to just stop here. And that drive to do that, because it takes drive, obviously, I think that drive is coming back. There could even be a completely new passion that is igniting in your life as well. It's funny, like the same cards came out as group number 1, but I am kind of reading them in a different way. There could be a reconciliation with a friend. Even, well, it would make sense with this letter, a reconciliation with a past version of you, child you, teen you, young adult you, like really seeing them and understanding them and not distancing yourself from them anymore. This is a very specific message for those of you who want this. So if this is not something that you want, ignore me, it's not for you. But there could be like a past flame returning to your life, either like a lover from the past or someone you had chemistry with, but then nothing really came of it, like things didn't pan out. That old spark could be coming back. I also think you're gaining or regaining confidence in your looks. Like you're finally embracing that you're hot. I'm hearing like some of you could be that hot person who doesn't realize they're hot. And now you're like, wait, I kind of look good. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay, there is a message for some of you, for those of you who are single, I think, that like a flame is entering into your life, or you're enjoying, like you could have been not really interested in love or dating or stuff like that. And now you're back. Back up on my bullshit, back up on the scene. That's Janae Aiko and her. I'm gonna link that one. I have to make notes of the songs that are coming up because group number 1 had one too. Oh, I forget what that song is called though. I used to listen to it a lot. Bullshit. And that's literally the only line I remember. I just seen your new bitch, it boosts my self-esteem. Anyway, you can listen to it. It's a good song. That's nostalgic. I'm just gonna write Janae Aiko because I don't remember what it's called. Yeah. Ding, 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 ding. You're back on your bullshit, but like in a good way. So you're just back, like your energy is back, your spark is back. Maybe some of you could be, like this could be you on the other side of a depression. This could be you on the other side of grief, on the other side of heartbreak, and you're really feeling like yourself again. Yeah, I am kind of sensing a new encounter as well that helps to refresh your zest for life, because you had this message in your letter. I just saw 34 when I said that, which is the Empress and the Emperor. And I also saw 2222 when I started to film your reading. So signs to look out for: 2222, snakes, I think I mentioned, scales, any image of like trees. I'm imagining, you know, that tree that's like the same upside down? I think it's the tree of life. That's a really bad image, but that's not a good drawing of it, but I'm thinking of the tree of life. And now I'm thinking of the tree from Avatar. The big tree that, yeah, anyway. I feel like I'm spiraling off topic now, but there's a new encounter that is renewing your zest for life, because there was that message: in time, you'll see how loved you are by the people around you, and some people you don't know yet. So, and this is probably for the crowd who was like, no, I am not manifesting an old flame. I am not manifesting an ex. There is a flame though. There is a flame coming in, a little spark, a passion towards something or someone that is coming in, that's helping to renew your zest for life. I do see that. For the advice, I think advice that future you has for you, there's certain things that we correlate that shouldn't be correlated. For example, age and maturity are not the same thing. So just because someone is older than you, it doesn't mean they're more mature or they know more than you. Experience doesn't equal talent. Interesting. Just because someone has more years of experience, it doesn't mean they're like better than you at something. And low-key, it doesn't mean that they're more worthy of respect. I know that's kind of how things work societally, but on a human level, someone being older than you or having more experience than you doesn't make them better than you. They want you to remember that. Oh, I was thinking of, like, people say sometimes money doesn't buy you class or something like that. I don't know. I think future you is dismantling a lot of societal hierarchies of like who gets to be confident, who gets to be proud of themselves, who gets to be better, who gets to be higher up on the ladder, so to speak. And you're dismantling a lot of that. And that's not to say you ever like stood by that and believed that, but we do internalize some of that, whether we're trying to or not, especially if you're raised in a culture that has a lot of like hierarchies built into it, and like respect for elders, the older person is always right, or like a lot of emphasis on how much money does someone make. when you're raised in an environment like that, even if you don't want to subscribe to it, even if you don't want to believe that's right, it does kind of permeate your subconscious. And so I think future you wants to help you unlearn any of that stuff that you've internalized. And they can testify that the heartbreaks and the grief and the sadness that you've been through, like, it does get better. It does get better. You do get stronger. There's going to be more heartbreaks in the future, but it's not going to be as bad because we know that it doesn't last forever. Like, maybe there's some dark period that you were in and you really thought it was going to last forever. And now future you can say confidently that it doesn't. And so they can handle, you know, it's easy to make it through the night if you know that it's not going to last forever. You know, oh, okay, in like 8 hours, the sun's going to come up. Like, yes, the night is still dark, but knowing that it won't last forever makes a huge difference versus just being in indefinite darkness and you don't know anything about, like, is the sun going to come back? And now future you can say, yes, it does. And it always will. It always will come back. You could also, there's a lot of messages about you making money. You could be alchemizing some horrible experiences that you went through, or a really dark time that you went through. You could be channeling that into your work or channeling that into your art and like turning it into something very valuable that helps others get through their dark times. There's something about you, I don't know why I wanted to say paying it back. I guess like you're so grateful to the universe, or you're so grateful to a higher power for bringing the sun back out. And so to pay it forward, you want to help others. You want to help others get to the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, like you were blessed by a sunrise, by the universe, and you're paying it forward to be other people's sunrise or to be other people's hope. I hope that makes sense. I feel like it's kind of an abstract message that came through, and you're turning it into like success and wealth and material abundance as well. Okay, so for the last part of the reading, we're just gonna roll some dice to see if there is anything else, any other signs to look out for, or anything else you need to know. We have the sign of Scorpio. We have the number 7. A Taurus rising could be significant because I'm thinking of like Scorpio in the 7th house. So yeah, Taurus rising, and a Cancer rising could be significant as well. Relationships are being highlighted, joint projects, a joint project that you can do on your own terms. So even if you're working with someone or working for someone, it doesn't mean that they have control over you. Some of you, again, I don't want to get too into legal stuff, but some of you could be winning a battle with an authority figure, or like someone you were under a contract with, or you could be entering into a new contract. And even though someone might be like technically your boss, they can't control what you do, or you have certain freedoms. You're technically working for someone. I guess it would be, I'm thinking like, for example, if an artist was signed to a label, but like the label actually doesn't have any say in what they create, which there's probably, I don't know anything about labels, but maybe it's just like a distribution thing. Let me stop talking before I sound dumb, because I don't really know what I'm talking about. But some kind of contract or agreement or joint venture where you get all the freedom, or like you still have ownership of all your stuff. It's like a very favorable agreement for you. It provides you with opportunities, but at the same time, you don't have to sacrifice much. So that's something else your future self wants to give you a heads up about. A scorpion could also be a sign, a mermaid, a goat, because Capricorn is like a goat mermaid. Repeating 2s, repeating 7s as well, repeating 5s. Anything else? If you start to see a lot of couples, that could be a sign that you're about to get into a couple or get into a partnership. Or if you see people being like lovey-dovey around you, it could be a sign that love is coming into your life. I'm seeing like a glass of liquor, but I don't know what that means. But anyway, you know, I imagined like a very fancy, you know, just like a straight something, or maybe it's on the rocks, but it's just like seems like a very mature drink. Anyway, I think those are all of the messages. So thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. And thank you so much to Future You for coming through and facilitating these messages. And thank you so much once again to Tarot Stack for providing these decks, for sponsoring this video, and for making our fundraising efforts possible. I'm gonna have all of these decks linked down below, as well as my affiliate link for Tarot Stack's website. So any decks that you would purchase from these links will help our fundraising efforts. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching, and I wish you all the best. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where you can watch tons of timeless, exclusive pick a card readings, just like this one. This topic was actually suggested by the community on Patreon. You can suggest topics for future readings there as well, so I'll have that linked down below. My music channel, which includes the intro song of this video, that is an original song. I'll also have my latest release linked down below. And finally, my vlog channel and my merch, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, to past you, present you, future you, all of the parallel yous, your higher self, your human self, and your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Hi, number 3s. So if you guys chose the Tangerine Quartz, this is going to be your reading. We are going to start off by reading the channeled letter from Future You, and then we're going to take a look at this oracle card to see if there's anything else Future You wants you to know about the main theme or the main energy of this reading. So let's get into the letter. I did just want to say this group in particular had a silly goose energy, which I personally loved. But if you are a more serious person, this might not be your group. I just wanted to put that out there. But anyway, let's get into your letter. Hey, your name. Honestly, I'm not even sure what to write about. I wish I could teleport to the past and hang out with you and tell you everything. If I didn't just do that, I guess that means time travel hasn't been invented yet. But I guess you can get answers from me anytime, because you're actively creating me right now. You have all the information about me. The next 2 to 3 years are going to be very fun. You may not be able to predict the exact events, but that's a good thing. Life would be boring if you knew exactly what I was going to be doing. What I can say is, I am very much the version of me you are striving for. Possibly even better, and definitely more attractive, winky face. Keep going with your habits. You're doing wonders for me. And please pick back up those activities you've left on the back burner that you're always saying you'll get back to. They make us so happy. It's a waste to leave them off to the side. You will get the recognition you seek, but please work on getting to a place where you don't need it. Otherwise, it will get to your head when you do receive it. Recognition is just icing on the cake. Easy for me to say, I know. And please tell your family and friends you love them. You never know when things could change. P.S. Your boo says hi. Smiley face with several mouths. Love, your name. So a couple things I wanted to note. This is the only group that used like your name. So the other groups were like, hello me from the past. And this felt more, I don't know how to describe it, because of course it's you, like it's a future version of you. But it just felt like a buddy, like a pal, like a friend. Whoa, my ring just flew off. Like a friend just talking to you, being like, hey group 3, hey, like what's up? Just approaching you in a very casual and friendly way. Cause like, of course it's you, you know, they're gonna approach you in that friendly manner. So future you, I think has a lot of gratitude, a lot of love for you, for the current version of you. I thought it was funny that they were like, I don't know what to write about, but then they ended up writing the most of all of the groups that I had to use the back. So once they got going, they could be chatty. They could talk about what they wanted to talk about. They said, you're actively creating me right now. You have all the information about me, which leads me to believe that future you is pretty much identical, if not very, very close to the future version of you visualize. They even said, I'm very much the version of you that you're striving to become, or something like that. So however you envision future you, the ideal version of you that exists in the future, they're letting you know, like, yeah, it's pretty damn close. Like, I did become that person. You literally manifested me. You created me. And I'm exactly how you wanted me to be and exactly how you imagined me. They let you know specifically that the next 2 to 3 years are going to be very fun, that you're going to gain recognition. I liked the easy for me to say. Future you's like, it's easy for me to say that recognition is just icing on the cake because I have it. Like, I have it, so I can say it's not something that you should depend on. It's almost like future you is receiving all of this recognition and they're like, man, if it was past me receiving all this recognition and they really felt like they needed it and they depended on it, that would not be good. Like, I'm glad I'm in a place now where I receive this recognition and I can say I don't need it and that it's just icing on the cake. So yeah, they want you to work on getting to a place where you don't need the recognition. They want you to pick back habits that you left, or even hobbies, like just things that you do for fun. They make you so happy, it's a waste to leave them off to the side. I did this with 3 mouths because I type it out first. I type out the channeled messages first just to make sure that I don't make mistakes, and then I copy it from what I typed because I don't trust myself to just like raw dog a handwritten letter. So I typed it with 3 mouths first, and then I had to keep it like that because the multiple mouths make it more like, huh? Wink, wink, you know what I mean? And I feel like that was the vibe that they wanted to give you. This, your boo says hi, it kind of had like a, if you know, you know type energy. So that might be confirmation of you entering into a relationship with a certain person on your mind, or just that like your love manifestations have come true. And so future you is like smiling back at you. And then this message, please tell your family and friends you love them. You never know when things could change. I was thinking about how the years start coming and they don't stop coming. They truly don't. And you never know like the changes people are gonna go through. I was thinking about a lot of things when this message came up. Like in my early 20s, I was living with my friend and we had the best time living together. And then suddenly she got pregnant and she got married and she had to move away because of her husband's work. And it's like, before you know it, the era can just be over. I'm also thinking of, there's this quote that's like, I wish, I'm probably gonna butcher it, but it's like, I wish there was a way to know that we're in the good old days before we've left them. So I think future you wants you to know, like, you're in the good old days right now. One day you're gonna look back and reminisce on these days. So make sure you cherish the people you're with. You never know when your friend could move away, or they, I don't know, they get married and things are just a bit different. Or I'm thinking as well, like at this era in my life, I have like grandparents going into retirement homes and losing their memory, and like my grandma passed away recently, and then my parents are also getting older. It's just like things aren't going to be the same. So cherish the time that you have with your loved ones now is basically what I think they were trying to say. Yeah, so that was their letter. And then for your oracle card, we have card number 1. So I'm gonna read this from the guidebook. And as I held up this card, the camera timer was at 8:11. So November 8th, August 11th, January 18th could be significant dates for some of you. Card number 1, visual hearing. It's giving synesthesia. Okay, visual hearing. Interesting things are happening, but she seems distracted from them. Okay, definitely a message about being in the moment. Interesting things are happening, but she seems distracted from them. Healing, grounding, and opening channels are working together, but missing her conscious presence. A bird connects its pineal gland with the heavens, and its third eye remains psychic, but her strange preoccupation regarding other matters diverts her attention. Why do I have, I'm thinking of like Prison Break, which I've never even seen, or something about like escaping from prison, which that could be, it's probably metaphorical. Or like yeah, maybe it's because I read bird and then I was thinking about a bird cage. I don't know, Prison Break specifically just came to my mind. Her strange preoccupation regarding other matters diverts her attention. Her third eye remains psychic, but her strange preoccupation regarding other matters diverts her attention. She looks confused, but she has no need to. If only she could focus her attention towards all that is happening, the scene would change completely. The keywords are paying attention, focusing, channels, and distraction. Okay, future you is definitely trying to get you to come back to yourself and to not have your energy scattered. To be mindful, to be in the moment, to be connected with your third eye. Okay, let's get into the tarot. We're gonna get some details about this transformation that you're going through. I'm also hearing shapeshifter. So you could be going through a transformation that's pretty big, like a complete image change, a complete rebranding, taking on a completely new role. And I'm thinking of New Woman by Lisa and Rosalia. I had a post-it note where I was writing down the songs. Yeah, I'm gonna put that for you guys. That song is actually in the key of the third eye. It's in the key of A. So, emphasis on the third eye. Oh my gosh, and there's birds singing. So some sign relating to birds is significant for you. The key of A minor, it could be A major as well. Or the letter A. Let me not put the pen there. The month of August. Okay, we have the Sun and the Ace of Cups. Also the zodiac signs Leo and Libra are coming through. Also noticing the numbers 19 and 91. That could be a year, 1991, because we have a 9 here and then we have a 19 and a 1. So when you read them in order, it's 9191. So look out for those numbers. These are all like signs that you'll see when you're on the right path, signs that you'll see when you're on the right timeline to become this future version of you. Hi, this is me from the future. I was really into the vibe of like pulling out one deck at a time and just focusing on each deck at once. Whereas in the other groups, I was just laying them all out and then getting into it. But because I was doing it in that way, I didn't realize that I forgot to shout out Tarot Stack. So thank you very much for providing all of these decks, for sponsoring our video, and also for making our fundraising efforts possible. I spoke a little bit about those in the intro of the video, so if you wanted to know more details, you can check that out in the intro. I am a longtime collaborator of Tarot Stack, and I'm so grateful for what they do in our community. I'm actually collaborating with them on a project of my own, but they have worked with several indie tarot and oracle deck creators and helped them get their deck printed and published and marketed out there into the world. Actually, 3 of the decks that we're using today are Tarot Stack publications, but they also have a huge selection of other indie tarot and oracle decks that is always growing. So I'm going to have all of these decks that we're using today linked down below. And I'm also gonna have just their website linked down below. And all of these links are gonna be affiliate links. So if you do purchase any decks from these links, that will help towards our fundraising cause. So thank you so much, Tarot Stack. Thank you so much to you guys for listening to that. And back to the past. You're happy, that's the most important thing. We had the Sun and the Ace of Cups coming out together. Both of these are cards that talk about happiness. 9 of Pentacles as well. It's like I feel like these are all different flavors of happiness that you have. This one is just like a pure, joyful, carefree, playful, childlike happiness. This is the kind of happiness that is just like cheerfully frolicking. It's like you're frolicking in the meadow without a care in the world, and you're having so much fun. The Ace of Cups, it's like a deep emotional fulfillment. So you feel love for yourself, for the people around you, for what you do. Your heart is so full and you're so grateful. 9 of Pentacles is like a practical contentedness. I very much like the reality of how my life is and how my life is set up. I like what I do for work. I like the activities that I do. I like how I spend my time. I like my physical surroundings. Like, it's a very practical, I'm contented. So all the boxes are checked essentially for you to be happy, in terms of like just being happy in a carefree way, being happy in a practical way, and being happy in a more deeply emotional way. You have the recipe here. You have found happiness in all ways. That's what future you wants to know. Wants you to know. There is, whenever I see the Nine of Pentacles, I do think of someone who is like successfully self-employed. So that could definitely be a confirmation for some of you. But someone who feels that the work that they're doing is very rewarding. A transformation that you've been through could have to do with work-life balance. So some of you are coming from a past, or maybe this is your current energy, where you spend too much time working. Maybe this is against your will. Maybe it's out of necessity. Maybe for others of you, it's that you push yourself to do this much work. Whether it's your choice or not, I do feel like there's an energy of work taking up too much of your time, and that's going to change. Future you is taking a lot more time for rest and relaxation, for vacation time, like traveling, hobbies. I think these things that they're asking you to take off the back burner, I am getting the feeling that they're not productive. They're not monetizable. They're just things that you love doing. And maybe that's why you put them on the back burner, because you're like, oh, you know, I could, I don't know, I could be playing my game right now. I could be playing my instrument right now. But I have to clean the house. I have to send that email. Like there's more productive things. There's better ways that I could be using my time. And we're not doing that anymore. Work is taking up less time in your life, and it's also taking up less of your mental energy. So, you know, let's say you were working a normal amount, like you work 9 to 5, but then maybe you're spending evenings and weekends like thinking about work or worrying about work. That also counts as it taking up time. So it's taking up a much smaller piece of your pie, so to speak, the pie chart of like your time and mental energy after you've gone through this transformation. And yet I do not see any hits to your financial situation. In fact, it is probably getting better. And you're realizing a lot of the time and mental energy it was taking up was like unpaid, or it wasn't worth it. Very interesting. There's also, both of my rings have fallen off since I started filming your group. So there could be something about you getting out of a commitment, which is so funny because prison break, like getting out of jail, a bird getting out of a cage, the ring coming off, like you're getting free from a commitment, from something that was really weighing you down, from somewhere you felt trapped, okay? So this is not a place where you're happily committed and it's coming to an end. This is like something you were bound to that was making you feel trapped. And like you're free to go now. I'm also seeing someone like clocking out and they're like, ha, I'm off the clock now. Like you cannot access me. You cannot ask me to do anything. I'm free now. Maybe the prison thing is metaphorical because it's like you have to serve your time and then you're free. So maybe it was like a contract that had to run out, a certain time that had to run out, and or some obligation you had to fulfill. And then once that's done, like you're free. And there's something coming through of like, nobody can ask anything of you anymore. Like, sorry, I'm offline, I'm unavailable. You will be limiting access to yourself. So people you don't want to talk to you will not be able to have access to you. You could be changing your number and not telling a lot of people your new number. You could be changing where you live and not telling a lot of people where you lived. Maybe you're not even telling people you moved. Like you're making some big transition and you're only telling people you really care about and you still want in your life, so that everybody else can't find you. Like, you've had it. There's something you're really done with and you're really freeing yourself from. Some of you could be getting off of social media, and that feels very freeing, because there is a sense of disconnecting from a lot of people, because previously you had been connected to too many people and it was too overwhelming. If you're a business person, this could be like hiring an assistant to take care of all the emails and all the back and forth. So you're like, I don't have to worry about that, you know, you can take it up with my assistant. Or something is just off of your hands now. Some commitment that trapped you is off of your hands. And you have more time to yourself, or you have more time to do the things that you really want to do. I do see you developing a new hobby, possibly something like creative or that allows you to express yourself. And again, it's not for monetary gain at all. There's a big shift in your values of like not ranking your activities as like more productive or less productive, or using your time well or wasting your time. You don't view time like that anymore. You don't view your time as something that needs to be farmed, I'm hearing, or like exploited, or your time is not like a washcloth that you have to wring out every last drop and do as much as possible. You don't view your time as currency anymore. If other people want to say time is money, that's their problem, but you don't. I think you're shifting away from those kind of values, because that's what sucks the soul out of things. Interesting. When you, like, imagine if someone was going to make the most beautiful masterpiece in the world and they're like, let me get out my calculator, but I'm going to work on it for this many hours and it's going to make this much money, then I'm not doing it. It's one thing if someone else is underpaying you, like, don't get me wrong, but when viewing your time as something you have to use in the most productive and efficient way possible, and something you have to monetize as much as possible, when you start viewing your own time and your own life force in that way, it will suck the soul out of what you're doing, and it could stop you from having some, like, the most fun experiences, or making a masterpiece, or having amazing self-discovery, things that you can't really put a price on. Like, how many dollars an hour should you get for having a spiritual awakening, or like for having healing? It doesn't make sense, because it's not, you know, I think society likes to farm time and farm attention and like put a price on it, and you're opting out of that. You're kind of like, okay, this sounds kind of cheesy, but I feel like you're kind of breaking free from some sort of matrix or some sort of simulation that a lot of people are living in. And because of that, you might not be able to relate to a lot of people anymore. But the good thing is that I see all of your close loved ones like get it, and they're on the same wavelength as you. Like they feel the same way, and you will be much happier for it. You're not a slave to anything anymore, I'm hearing. Like, you're not chained to anything. Interesting. Okay, so let's get some cards about the person you are becoming. We have the Hierophant, and the Devil. So interesting how we have like alternating numbers. Here we had 9191. Here we have 515. 15 and 51 could also be significant numbers. Taurus and Capricorn energy, so you're very grounded. You're definitely taken care of materially. When I look at these together, it kind of looks like embracing a duality, where we have this creature who looks like this very, you know, peaceful, enlightened, aligned, divine cosmic being. You know, the Hierophant's like the bridge between the cosmos and the physical world. And then we have the devil, who's like this gnarly, these are like our vices, our ugliness, you know, our ego. This feels like a marriage between your spiritual self and your ego. And maybe a realization, like this is definitely immense spiritual growth, even the fact that these are both major arcana. I think you're coming into this way of being where it's like, my spiritual ascension has nothing to do with like transcending my ego or not having an ego anymore. Or like demonizing the worldly things. So how do I describe it? It's like, for example, something that I kind of felt that might be happening for you is not having so much of an attachment to material things, but that doesn't mean you're going to, like, you're always gonna have some want for material things in your life. So for example, maybe you notice like, oh, I used to really want designer brand items, but I don't really want it anymore. That doesn't mean in the future, if you want to buy something nice for yourself, you're not gonna like demonize that part of you or say that it's not spiritual to want things, or, you know, you're still going to give yourself that joy and that pleasure and recognize there's nothing unspiritual about that. And you're not going to judge other people who do want designer brand items or who do have materialistic tendencies. It's like realizing that humanness is spiritual and spirituality is human, and it's not about like destroying your ego or transcending your ego. It's about like integrating it. You're simultaneously this enlightened divine cosmic being, and you're also this egoic physical human in the flesh. And it's like you are embracing both sides of that. What else does future you want you to know? You could find success as a teacher of some form, a teacher, a coach, a counselor, an instructor. You educate people, you help people grow, you advise people. You help people in an area where there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear and misinformation. This is just a very easy example, but I'm thinking of how sometimes people who aren't familiar with tarot would be like, no, I'm scared to get a reading because what if I get the death card, which is like fear and misinformation, because it's not. It's like you help to educate people so that they're less afraid of something and they feel more empowered. So in that example, it's like, oh no, the death card is not inherently bad. Like it's, you know, it's an opportunity for release and for rebirth and for transformation. And at the end of the day, there's not really any bad cards per se. They're just bringing things to your attention and like letting you know how you can grow and move forward. So yeah, some field where there's a lot of fear or there's not a lot of understanding, You could be enlightening people in a certain area. Fostering more understanding and more acceptance. And yeah, I actually think many of you will be in some kind of teacher role or like a guide, someone who provides guidance, because a message just came through about really coming to this understanding that being preachy is like not helpful. You know, imagine this Hierophant like preaching to the devil about how, oh, you should be enlightened like me. Like, no, that's not. I wish I could remember quotes better, because I like see quotes that I think could be relevant, and then there was something about like the way to help people awaken is to like see the part in them that's already sacred and treat them like they are sacred until they remember their own sacredness. It was something like that. What else does future you want you to know? We have, okay, there's 4 cards. We're just gonna go with all of them. The Queen of Wands, the Moon, the Empress, and the 9 of Swords. Okay. The Queen of Wands, the Moon, the Empress, and the 9 of Swords. It's interesting. Okay, there's some like alternating stuff going on. Like that's a repeating theme for this group, because there's like 9191, 515, and then here we have this energy of like empowered feminine energy, and then insecurity. Empowered feminine energy, insecurity. Like back and forth, or something alternating. That could be a sign for you as well. Like you could see angel numbers that are like, you know, like 3131, 1818, or something. I'm also thinking about a pendulum swinging back and forth, something swinging back and forth, or something alternating. Maybe there's alternating colors. Like you'll see, I don't know, like red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, something like that. A pattern that could be a sign for you. But there's this alternating energy of feeling confident, feeling empowered, and then being insecure about it. And it's interesting that both of these are like feminine energies. We're stepping into our divine feminine energy, and then we're getting in our head about it. We're getting in the flow, we're feeling confident, we're feeling abundant, and then we're getting in our head about it. Honestly, when I look at this, what I want to say is it's okay. Like everybody has fluctuations like that. And the journey to future you is not a linear journey, right? Where you're going from being struggling with limiting beliefs, struggling with self-doubt, to like, oh, now I'm a confident baddie and I never doubt myself. Like, you're always going to have bad days and good days. They just get better. So your bad days in the future are going to be better than your bad days now. And I think a lot of us get disheartened because there's this false narrative of the journey to healing, or the journey to enlightening, or the journey to surrender being this thing that you do once and then you've accomplished it and then it's done. When in reality, it's like constant everyday efforts. It's like a constant dance. It would be like if you married someone and then you're like, okay, I put the ring on it, so I can stop working on the relationship now because like I did the thing and it's done. Like, of course that sounds silly. And it's the same thing with with building your confidence. It's not like, yay, I beat the limiting beliefs and now I will always feel good about myself. That's, oh, interesting. That's marketable. It's marketable to frame it that way. It's a linear journey where you go from being insecure to being confident. And for my $6,000 course, I'll show you how to do it. No offense to online courses, but it's more marketable to make journeys linear, to present a journey as linear, because then you can say like, hey, you over there at point A, I can help you get to point B. So I can see why it would be pushed like that. But then what happens, like when we have regular fluctuations, when we have regular ups and downs, we think like something's wrong with us. We didn't do the healing journey right. We didn't do the journey to confidence right. And that's just, as long as we're alive, there's going to be the fluctuations like that. And you just need to know that you're still whole and complete, and it's not something wrong with you, and that over time your ups and downs are getting better. Like you're going from being up and down here to being up and down here. But there's always going to be those ups and downs. What is this with your feminine energy? You get into your divine feminine energy. You get into your energy of trusting and being in the flow. And then you start to doubt yourself of like, what if this is not safe? You need to feel safe to be in your feminine energy. What is this about you stepping into your feminine? Intuition. Feeling your way into and through your work, an internal understanding that not all useful things are seen or knowable. Okay, so there may be a part of you that is uncomfortable with like feeling your way through a process, feeling your way through life, that feels quite uncomfortable when there is not like a rigid plan set into place, or a part of you that is very uncomfortable with believing in things that you can't see with your physical eyes, or that you can't pick up with your five senses. A part of you that's uncomfortable with being like, I know this to be true because I feel it intuitively. There's like a part of you that doesn't want to allow that. And there will be ups and downs with that, and that's okay. Man, I go back and forth with that a lot. Like, I'm fully in my delulu and I'm like happy about it, and I'm just like, life is so magical. And then literally hours later, I'll be like, that was dumb of me. Like, let's just forget about that. It's funny how I didn't mean to do that, but I go into a more like masculine voice when I'm like, that's stupid. And I will go like multiple times back and forth like that. Even in the course of a day, it's really quite a journey. And it's okay. You're not static, you're not linear. There's different factors affecting you. It's okay. We also have trance. Creativity seeks expression. Meditate. Allow your works to be creative meditations. See the divinity in your creative acts. Yeah, there's also a part of you that wants to just like, because being in a trance, that's surrender, right? Something's just taken over you and you're just flowing. Something about you being in the flow, being in a complete state of surrender and just channeling the divine in like a raw way. There's a part of you that's uncomfortable with that. It's almost like when you get too into the creative flow, when you get too into the delulu, when you get too into the intuitive side, there's like a part of you that wants to hit the brakes because maybe you don't trust yourself. You're like, if I start dipping into this energy, I'm gonna go too far with it. I'm gonna become too delulu, or I'm gonna get lost when I go into this trance, when I start channeling, when I lean into my intuition and just feel my way through. Like, I'm gonna get lost. I'm not gonna be able to come back to my logical self. Yeah, it's like a part of you that is afraid of getting lost in the delulu sauce, and you need to know that you won't. You won't get lost there. You won't go too far. That is what you need to know. I'm also noticing IT, which is like some information technology, question mark, maybe? I don't know. It's like a field. People work in IT. Intuition trance. You're definitely going through some intense spiritual growth. So for the last part of the reading, I'm just going to roll some dice to see if there's any other messages for you. Okay, let's roll some dice. Okay, North Node, Cancer, and Uranus. Why is this making me think? Okay, the first thing that I thought of was getting a sudden urge to do like a social purge, like to make your social circle smaller and to just disconnect from a lot of the outside noise. But then I also thought of a sudden urge to become more domestic. I don't know, Cancer was making me think of domestic vibes. North Node, it can talk about a hunger, a longing that we want to move towards, and then Uranus is very sudden. So just suddenly, I don't know, maybe you suddenly get very into baking, or you suddenly get very into embroidering, or you suddenly get very into gardening. I'm thinking of like DIY, crafts, cleaning, making clothes, cooking. Like my mom got very into knitting and she knits everybody hats and it's very cute. So you could suddenly be getting into something like that. I do feel also you're gravitating more towards a cozy energy, wanting to settle down, wanting to have your roots somewhere. Or at least that's the energy future you is appearing in. So maybe before you were okay with, you know, moving frequently or traveling to different places. And now you're like, I just really want my own place to call my home, that I know I'm not going to be moving anytime soon, and I'm settled there, and I can decorate it how I want, and I can plant trees outside, and I can paint it. And, you know, like a really strong urge emerging to just have your own place and to be settled, and maybe even to have a family, like if that is something that you want. But that could be changing suddenly. And there's also a part of you, like there was a part of you that wanted to grow and wanted more and more. And you might be realizing that that's inauthentic. An example of this would be like a social media creator being like, oh, I want to get more and more followers. I want to get a new audience. And then them realizing like, I don't really though. That's just what society told me I should want, but I actually really do like my smaller and more intimate community. And I don't care about the vanity of like, oh, look, that person is growing, they're doing well. I actually think I'm doing super well with my small knit, lovely community. Thank you very much. And like, I don't want to. I'm even thinking also of someone who has their own business and they're like, I want to scale my business. I want to make it bigger. I want to do bigger operations. I want to have more locations. I want to have more staff, because it's just like growth for the sake of growth. But then maybe they realize that having their business smaller is actually much more favorable to them. It's way less stressful for them. And, you know, maybe there's less money coming in, but there's also less money going out because there's less expenses, less taxes. And so choosing something that's smaller, more comfortable, more intimate, because the emotional value of it, of feeling connected, of feeling inner peace. You are finding it to be way better than just like growing as big as you can because bigger equals better. Yeah. Okay, I think that those are all of the messages for you. So thank you very much for letting me do this reading for you. I hope you have a wonderful day or night whenever you're watching this, and I wish you all the best. Thank you so much once again to Tarot Stack for providing these decks and for sponsoring this video and for helping our fundraiser cause. I'm gonna have all of these decks linked down below and also the affiliate link to Tarot Stack's whole website. So any decks that you purchase with those links will go towards our fundraising cause. So thank you so much. Please take good care of yourself, stay healthy. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you feel like doing that. If you enjoy my content and you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm gonna have linked down below my tarot reading Instagram, my personal Instagram, my Patreon, where you can watch tons of timeless exclusive pick a card readings just like this one. This topic was actually suggested over on Patreon, so you can decide on topics for future readings over there as well. I will link my music channel, which includes the intro song of this video that is an original song. I'll also have my latest release linked down below. And finally, my vlog channel and my merch, which features the floating temple that was at the start of this video. Thank you guys so much for supporting me, my channel, and anything I do. I really, really appreciate having you here, and I'm sending so much love to you, future, past, current you, and all of the parallel versions of you, higher self you, human self you, and your spirit guides, your spiritual team, and all of your loved ones, both here on earth and in the other realms. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.